Imagine being too lazy to read the patch notes and you wait for Blade to do it for you. That's my job. That is why I'm here. Professional streaming, just to provide you with the patch notes. So let's just go into it. Let me just make sure the stream's showing. Yep, Twitch chat will show up. Perfect. So I'm gonna read most of the update, but I'm not gonna read it for word on every single thing because then that would just take me forever, and I don't want to do that. But we are gonna go over the patch notes for the patch coming on October 25th, which is 6 days from now. I think they said they're gonna start streaming at 10 a.m. Pacific, which is 11 a.m. my time, which is Mountain, and then 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's when we should get all the whatever secret stuff that they're holding. They did have a live stream today, by the way, which wasn't really much, like nothing new that I can remember. And then, so obviously, for those who are somehow not aware of this at this point, there are 2 new civilizations coming out: the Ottomans and the Malians. Season 3 starts on October 26th, so we do not have a wait like we did last season. It's not a 2-week wait; it's a 1-day wait, which is fine. Taunts, 8 new maps, 2 new biomes, naval rework, and then waypoint markers. I should note that this is mainly going to be an opinion stream on this patch. Obviously, for the 2 civilizations, we're very excited for both of these civs, or I should say. I'm going to play both of them on release. I'm also probably going to be playing both of them off and on just for a while in general. Probably going to be one of my main civs for a little bit as I try to learn to see what I think works best. For example, I know that I know more than all the pros who've been playing this for the past few weeks, and they have their builds set in place, but mine are better, and I'm just being sarcastic. Do you think the Janissary will get buffed? I think they are too weak for the resources. I mean, they technically did get a buff, right? They no longer take range damage. So, or something like that. I mean, they are designed to be an anti-cavalry unit. I think too many people think the Janissary is designed to be a hand cannoneer. I think what people have to remember is the Janissary, which is for the Ottomans, aren't meant to be the hand cannoneer. It's I mean, like it shoots a gun, but it's a different. Yeah, it's a ranged spearman. It's pretty much what I think. People just have a hard time accepting that, and think it should be an all-around unit, but that is not the design or the goal of the unit, and I don't think it ever will be. And it does its job very well against cavalry, by the way. Okay, so there's going to be some new Art of War challenges, which will be good for players who are especially learning the game. There will be Ottomans, the Malians. I'm not going to go over what the challenges are. That's something I think you guys can look at yourself. This is going to be, I am going to post this on YouTube, and it will be in the description. And if anyone wants to see the patch notes now, these are the patch notes link in the chat. So in Season 3, one of the big things is we're finally getting a caster mode, which is awesome. So instead of having to do a mod or I'm just going to say a mod to do casting, you can actually you can do it in anything. It only works for 1 versus 1. It does not work for team games, FFAs, or anything like that. But this is what it's going to look like. And for any 1v1, you get this information. And you can switch back to the classic if you prefer that. So that's really cool. Really excited for that. There's going to be taunts and cheats. I'm not going to go over them. But it looks like there's a little guy in a spacesuit. Let's just call him a space marine. And he's going to shoot stuff. But again, I don't care much about the cheats. If you want to, you can always look at that. And then we're going to go over the 8 new maps real quick. So we have Forest Ponds, pretty much 4 lakes, but it's still a bad map, in my opinion. I don't like water maps, so I will hopefully never play it. Hideout, which is, it's an interesting version. So in Age of Empires 2, there's a map called Hideout. Same kind of layout. You spawn, one player will spawn here, another will spawn here. In Age of Empires 2, you start with the palisade walls, or wooden walls, whatever you want to call it. In Age of Empires 4, you don't start with walls, but it is a long rush distance. So this map will probably get to probably see lots of walling on the sides here, and probably not the most exciting map, but we'll see how it plays out. We have Mountain Clearing. For those who played Age of Empires 2, it's like Socotra. It's a very, very small rush distance map. You are literally like right next to your opponent. You're pretty much going to be expecting tower rushes almost all the time. That's what I would anticipate. on this map if you play it is tower rushes, tower rushes, tower rushes. Really nothing else to add. That's what this map is literally going to be from what I've seen. I guess you could play English and you can't really get tower rush because you can pull villagers to kill the villager. So it's either English or get tower rush. I think is how this map's going to play out. I think as a spectator, it'll be fun to watch for the first couple times. But then as people realize the meta on this is really going to be just tower rushes and all that, this map really isn't going to be very fun to play or watch in my opinion. And then we have wetlands, which this map is, think of it like Frisian marshes, except obviously it's not. If I recall, there's a lot of wood lines. And all these water ponds you see here all have fish on them. So it's a lot of fish. There's very few sheep on this map, at least when I played it in the pup. I don't know if they've changed it since then, but from last I'm aware of, there's very few sheep. So you kind of have to go on the map for the fish. There are berries, and then there's very few. I think there's some deer, if I recall, but not very much. This map is probably, in the little bit I played about it, I think it was too easy to wall. There was too many big tree lines that blocked areas, so it was almost kind of like Black Forest, almost, except not. I don't know, hard to explain, but with how it was designed when I played it, I wasn't the biggest fan of the map, but it's not the worst map. I mean, from the little I played it. Then we have Prairie. Now this map is, think of it like wetlands, except instead of the water ponds, it's all little trees. There are no big tree, no big forests. So it's little tree packs spread across the map. A very difficult to wall map because you have to always move your land maps, or you always have to move your lumber camps over to new woodlines. So this map is going to be a very aggressive map. And probably going to favor the civilizations like French, who can make knights in the early age, because knights are going to be really strong on this map because you have to move around to get the woodlines. I think as a map, it's probably a fun map. I actually haven't played it, so I don't really have much of an opinion on it. I've seen a couple games played on it from some professionals, and I thought they were fun to watch. I mean, it's just a lot of multitasking, and it kind of promotes the kind of gameplay I prefer, where it's not sit in your base and wall up. So I think this map, out of the new maps so far, this is probably their best. Then we have Watering Holes. Avily, this is the best map. Yeah, I mean, out of their new maps, it definitely is. This one is, I don't think I actually really looked at this map too much, but it's got water, so I'm already not a fan. But I'm guessing you probably spawn, I don't know if you spawn by this. I'm not sure where you spawn on this map, so I can't really give much information on this, but it has water. I don't like water, so I don't like this map. If you like water, you might like this map. That's all I got for this one. Mediterranean, it's almost like Boulder Bay, except the lake's in the center. You spawn across from the lake from your opponent. It's another water map. I can already tell you, I hate this map. Not a fan personally. It's just going to be whoever controls the middle should win the game. The rush distance from here to your opponent is pretty long, so it's not like you can... sorry, just exiting something. I forgot to exit that. So it's really difficult to kind of... I think rushing won't be the best, but I could be wrong. Who knows? Either way, this map is just whoever controls the center should win the game, at least in theory. Obviously, there are ways if people make mistakes. And supposedly, someone said this was an Age of Mythology, from Age of Mythology, but right here it says it's from the Rise of Rome expansion. So this is actually from Age of Empires 1, if I'm not mistaken. And then I think it's in Age of Empires 2 as well. So it looks like it's in like all the Age of games. Age of Empires 2, and Age of Mythology. Either way, Blades patch notes, water sucks, patch sucks. That's not true. I don't think the patch sucks, by the way. But I will go into my opinion on certain things definitely later on. And then we have Oasis, which is also a map in Age of Empires 2. This map is actually probably one of their better maps as well, that they brought over, because you could say it's a little bit like Hideout, kind of easier to wall. The water's in the center. I did look at the map in the pup, but I can't remember off the top of my head exactly what the rush distance looked like. But essentially, lots of trees. You spawn somewhere. I don't know if you spawn across from each other or not, but there is water in the center, but you have to chop through a forest to get there. And I think there's something else in the center, but I can't remember what it is. I think as a map, it's probably, again, out of all these maps, it's probably their second best map they brought over. I'd rather play on Oasis than Hideout, for example. And I think Prairie is, out of their new maps, Prairie is the best. I think Oasis is second. Hideout's probably third. And then the rest I kind of lump into the same category. So, but I also haven't played this on Age of Empires 4, so could still be a really crappy map. Let me just do this real quick. All right, and so then if you care about Season 3 awards, again, this is not something I'm really going to go over. It's just rewards. I don't care about the rewards. So if you guys want to go over that, just go to the link. There's a lot of rewards for people who do that kind of stuff. All right, so now for the Season 3 ranked. So for those who are also not aware, Team Ranked is also coming out on October 26th. So as I kind of hinted out or said earlier, Season 3 ranked officially starts on October 26th. For those of you who remember Season 1 and Season 2, we had a 2-week delay before we had Season 2. So really glad they learned their lesson, and we're going to have Season 3 starting the day after Season 2. The team ranked is all combined. 2v2, 3v3, 4v4 are all combined. 1v1 is separate. So what's the CD? Season 2 ends on October 24th. October 24th? And then the patch comes out October 25th. And then, so I guess technically it's a 2-day delay maybe. So yeah, 2 days. I guess I was wrong. Sniper, you're embarrassing me in my own video. I can't believe you. And yeah, so that's that. That's cool. I think it's awesome. We're finally gonna have team ranked. I'm probably gonna be playing more team ranked in this season than I have in any others, and I'll go into details as to why later on in this video. And again, you can win awards. What is also cool is the team ranked and the solo. So you can see it here. They upgraded the badges. They look a lot better than they do now. And you'll notice they're different. These are the team ranks icons. So this is Conqueror for teams, Diamond, Platinum. You can see the names here. Conqueror for 1v1s all the way to bronze. You'll notice these use more like defensive, like helmets. These use swords or weapons, I should say, because there's not necessarily swords in the first few. So really cool. I think it's really cool that they kind of use 2 different icons for team and solo. There's also going to be a ton of taunts. I think there's 105 taunts coming into the game. I think that's cool. We all love taunts. So that's cool stuff. And now for the first part of the video that we're definitely going to have a little bit of a talk about. So this is the Season 3 ranked maps. So this is how it's going to work from what I understand from reading this. There will always be 7 static maps that remain in the map pool for the entire season. So that would be Arabia, the Pit, Hill and Dale, Mediterranean, Ancient Spires, Forest Ponds, Limpany. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 really bad maps in the ranked map pool. In my opinion, and we get 2 decent. We got Limpany and Dry Arabia that are always going to be in the map pool no matter what. In the rotating map pool, or in the rotating maps, so these maps will be added in. I'm guessing they're going to do 2 at a time. I'm not sure, but they're going to do Nagari, Altai, Hideout, Waterholes, Boulder Bay, French Pass, King of the Hill, Highview, Oasis. There's not a single map on this ranked rotation that I'm happy about. The closest would be Highview, and I'm not the biggest fan of Highview. So essentially, if you don't like water, you're going to be forced to play water in Season 3, and there's nothing you can do about it. If Boulder Bay and Nagari make it in here, you only have enough vetoes to get rid of 3 maps. So you could get rid of Ancient Spires, Forest Ponds, Mediterranean, and you're still going to have up to 2 water maps. They didn't say how quickly they're going to rotate them, so I don't know if they're going to do it every week or if they're going to do it every other week. Either way, I'm very disappointed in the map pool. I think this is honestly the worst map pool they could have done. And I'll go into my reasons for that. I do agree they should have map. I'm going to say for the record, I do think water maps should be in the ranked map pool because water is something they want. They did do a complete naval rework, and I think for people who like water, they should be allowed to play water. So like I said, options are yeah, options. I'm always open for options. What I don't like is that they're pretty much forcing it to where you have to play water maps. You're guaranteed it. There's no way to veto every single water map on a rotation unless you get French Pass, King of the Hill, or High View and Oasis or something like that. So that's my number one complaint right now is the forced water maps. It's going to happen. I have a feeling that the ranked rotating maps are almost always going to put one water map and probably one land map. But again, I don't know for sure. But either way, it looks like there's going to be 9 maps. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, so 9 maps. You get 3 map vetoes, which again isn't enough for the water maps. So honestly, for me, I'm probably not going to be playing as much 1v1s this season as I do. 1v1s is my way to play. It's like I love 1v1s. That's my way to play the game. But I can't enjoy the game if I'm forced to play on water maps. So I can already tell you that my 1v1s is not going to be as heavy as it has been for the past year. Because I think I've been streaming Age of Empires 4 first, since the beta, so it's been over a year technically. So this is why I'm probably be playing a lot more team games because I can already tell you, I'm just thinking about it. Playing these maps in 1v1s is going to tilt the shit out of me. And it's just not going to be a fun stream. I'm not going to be having fun because I'm going to be forced to play crappy maps. So I'm still going to play 1v1s. And when this releases, I'm going to grind 1v1s until I get to a very tiltable phase. What I'm probably going to do or try to do is mix it in where I'm going to do 1v1s in the first part of the stream, team games after, or something like that. But just expect, for those who watch me and stuff, you're not going to see as many 1v1s where my stream is only 1v1s for this season because, like I said, I think this map pool is absolutely bad. So that's kind of my opinion on that. Don't really have much else to say on it. This is the map pool, so yay. And then we have season. Oh, I guess I will go one more thing on this. And I actually am a little surprised at this before I move on. I don't know why they didn't add any community maps at all. We don't see a single one. We don't see Frisian Marshes, Basin, like anything. None of the maps. There's not a single custom map in here made by the community, which I think is very, very disappointing. I think they should have. I think at this point, I think a lot of these maps should be completely removed and added with community maps. I think it's just better for the game. I think they're better designed, and yeah, that's the last I'm going to say on it though. So that's the map pool. And then we have the quick play maps. These are pretty much, I'm pretty sure that's going to be all the ranked maps, plus they're going to rotate some of these maps, I guess. For quick play, I have no complaints. Quick play, I expected to have all the maps. And in general, when you play quick play, you're not really playing to be... I always view it as kind of just a fun thing to mess around with, so... Pretty much every map they've created will be in here, except maybe a few. I don't think I saw Prairie in here. No, they did. Okay, so they pretty much have every one of their maps in quick pool, and they'll rotate with these. Not really much to talk about here. This kind of went as expected. I imagine quick play is probably going to be very dead, just because of ranked teams. And I feel like most people are going to gravitate towards that, but we'll see. And then they've done the naval rework. So I will read over these because I haven't actually done that yet, but we'll do that when we get to that portion. Their choices are questionable, but it's nice to see a core set and then rotating maps. I agree. Like I said, I do think they should do a rotating map pool. I think that's the definitely the way to go. And I also agree with you that they just need a better map pool to put in there. I think there's just a lot better community maps than what they have. But that's but yeah, we already went on that rant. So in this new patch, if you didn't know, there are now going to be waypoints. This screenshot kind of makes it hard to see, but you can kind of see it there. But you can see it better here. You can now see the waypoints so you know where your units are going. Again, a welcome change. People have been complaining about it for a water. I read chat when I said that. I meant a while. So I think this is obviously a nice change. I don't think there's any downside to having waypoints. If you don't like these for whatever reason, you can remove them in the options menu. Stability and performance, supposedly fixed a rare crash, fixed a crash. They fixed some hotkey stuff. Again, I don't care too much about the hotkey stuff, but I actually literally, the only hotkeys I've changed were in the beginning of the game, and that was idle villager to spacebar. I don't think I've really made anything else. I guess I use Control M to find my market, but otherwise, yeah. Added some more shortcuts and stuff, so if you're interested in that. They made some campaign, Art of the War, campaign missions. Again, I'm not really going to go over those. And now we'll go over the naval balance. So, for those of you unaware, the naval balance is actually really big in terms of the way water plays now is way different than it is right on the current patch. So to kind of just give you a brief, before I read over them, to kind of give you a brief overview, I feel like the way water maps are going to be played now is the civilizations with the better economy are going to be the civs you want to play on water maps, because there's no longer that discrepancy where the French Hulk is going to beat the war junks of China, for example, because now you all have the same core set of ships. So I think HRE, for example, is probably going to have the strongest water, or at least one of the strongest, because they have a really strong economy. And then China is probably going to be next up there as well. I feel like China and HRE will dominate the water. English will still be good because of men at arms, so they may potentially still. So those will probably be the three main civs on water. But Malians do have a unique aspect where their transport ship can actually attack if you put units in it early, so maybe Malians will be up there too. But in general, yes, I think this economy is going to play a very important part of water, more so than even now. So each class of ship now shares the same stats. This means that I'm not going to say this right, the Bowchown and the Carrack are both equal in cost and power. We intend to add ship variations back in the future as we look to refine naval balance further. However, the goal is just to create a solid foundation. So we do expect further changes in the future. They move the springled ship and incendiary ship to the feudal age for all civilizations. This makes the naval combat more exciting in the early stages because now there's a rock, paper, scissors counter system. And this is the counter system right here. Archer ships beat incendiary ships, which beat springled ships, which lose to archer ships. Wait, is that right? Well, sorry, which beat archer ships. So archer ship beats demo ships, springled. Demo ships beat springled ships beat archer ships. Is the pretty much how that goes. There are no new naval units unlocked in the Castle Age. Instead, there's a number of tiering upgrades which are available to all civilizations. So each ship's type has a Castle Age and Imperial Age upgrade to it. So think of it like knights, right? Early knights or archers, veteran archers in Castle, elite archers in Imperial Age. Same thing except now for ships. The ship costs have been changed across the board, include adding food costs to the archer ships and warships. So that is going to change things a bit because now that they cost food, you're not going to be able to get castle ages easily if you're making a lot of ships because they also cost food. Obviously, I don't think this is fishing ships. They just want to ensure that there's interesting economic decisions when playing naval maps and introducing a food cost to certain naval units, which ensures that there's enough demand on the resource. Ships are also generally cheaper and train faster than before. This is just to kind of put a more action-packed early game. If anyone hasn't seen it, you can watch this on. You can just YouTube and watch games on water. There's a lot of games on water. Aussie Drongo, for example, has plenty of games that showcase water gameplay with the new patch. So if you want to see it in action in a live game, you can do that. The movement speed, turn rates of the ships are a lot more responsive, and from the little testing I did, this is true. Like it does feel nicer to move your ships. They do move quick. They do respond nice. So it is it feels better to move them. Ships no longer cancel a garrison command upon colliding with another unit. I honestly didn't know that was a thing, but then again, I don't play water maps, so that's why. Ships can no longer go under bridges. I'm pretty sure this was added a long time ago, but I might be wrong on that. But I'm pretty sure this was added like I almost want to say 6+ months ago, but again, might be wrong. Fishing deposits can now be reliably selected. I'm guessing that means the fish. I mean, fishing deposits, I guess that makes sense. And then as part of our rework of how you would approach water maps and the naval experience overall, there have been numerous changes. Below are the changes. I think I just read that. Ships no longer, yep, just read that. Springald ship bonus damage versus buildings increased from plus 40 to plus 45. Naval ship deaths are now correctly confirmed to challenges. Fire ships burning visuals has been updated, and the naval traders return 40% less resources from trade routes. I believe that's a new change from even the last pup. I don't think this was in the last one, and this is because they made naval traders cheaper. If they kept the original sort the way it was before, it would just be way too overpowered. So I think that's a good change. So fishing ships can now see the stealth fog on water. Fishing boat lines of sight set to 14 tiles. Speech lines play when fishing ship is commanded to fish. I guess it doesn't do that now. These are new things I learned. And now this is the trade ships. Wood cost reduced from 300 to 100. The train time reduced from 60 to 30. So, because yeah, right now it takes 60 seconds to make a trade ship. Now it's 30 seconds. Their health was reduced to 225, and then fix a bug where trade ships were receiving armor upgrades from the blacksmith. What are the warship types? I think we'll be getting to that here shortly. It comes down below. Transport ship has been health reduced from 600 to 400. This is kind of going over all the costs. For example, the Springald ship is now 120 food, 200 wood, 30 gold, 30 seconds to train, 3 population, 450 health, ranged armor is 3, and then attack move 4.12, move speed 1.38, turn rate 185. I'm not going to say that for everyone. I'll just do the basics. Range 6 tiles, damage 35, bonus to archer ships versus buildings. And then they do have an ability now, where the Man of the Sails ability, which allows the unit to move faster for some time, but it is canceled out when it enters combat. So you can, if you enter combat, you can't do this. I also like how they added this. Springald ships and warships no longer spin to win. For those unaware, you could micro your Springald ships to fire from both sides. Now that doesn't make any difference, so you don't have to do that kind of micro anymore. We'll correctly chase enemies, and then, yep. The demo ship, again, Castle Age, it's 80 wood. Train time is 15 seconds, does 95 damage, does bonus damage to ships and buildings, which is 300, has 145 health, and population cost is 2. Not too much really to talk about here. And now we have the warships. The Carrick, the Bauchan, the Exebic, sorry, don't know how to say it. Health set, so these are all going to have the same health. 700, the wood cost is 200, the food cost is 200, the gold cost is 200, and then damage 45, fires 3 cannons, plus 70 to buildings, 9 range, 5 population, set of 6. Warship speed all. So I don't know. I haven't done any testing on the warships, nor have I seen them very much. So I think they're actually not that good, but I could be mistaken on that. Huh. Just somehow cut myself, I guess. Didn't know that. All right. Then we have the archer ship, which is the war galley, light junk, dough, hunting canoe, 90 food, 150 wood, no gold, 25 seconds, 300 health, 6 damage, and then does 18 damage to demo ships. Hey, what's up, Blue Dream Legend? And then galleys, reduced health from 1200 to 700, and then ranged armor reduced from 3 to 1. You got to play an FFA with cheats on. That should be fun. I mean, I plan on doing some fun stuff, so I definitely am open to trying that in the future at some point. So docks themselves have also changed a bit. Their health is set to 2,000, healing nerf from 5 to 3, and they get a new emplacement called the Gain Defensive Emplacement. What this does is it's 125 stone, 75 wood. It cannot attack land units unless that's changed. I believe can only attack other ships. It says 10 damage, but then plus 25 versus ship, so it's 35 damage. 11 range, 3 seconds to weapon reload. Sorry for being negative. Mo, I've already had my negativity on the patch, right? I mean, did you see my negativity on the map pool? I went on quite a rant there. So this makes it so you can defend your water easier. I'm not sure I like this. It does allow comeback capabilities though, so it pretty much allows you to come back, have a chance to come back on the water Do I like this or not? I'm not sure. Probably don't, but I'm not the best opinion for it because I don't like water. So, um, arrow slits bonus for ships reduced from 25 to 10. And yeah, so just kind of theirs. Oh, wait, actually, no, these are kind of important. The Trebuchet's bonus for ships reduced from plus 500 to plus 200. The Culverin's bonus to ships reduced from plus 200 to plus 10. Dang, the Culverin really got a nerf versus that. And then a lot of the shared technologies, which is just the dock upgrades. I'm not going to go over these. There's a lot of them, but they just reset the costs and all that stuff. All right, so now we're going to go to the gameplay changes. There are some big ones here. So added waypoints. Siege units will now automatically unpack, pack, and chase enemy units when issued a force command. Why would China have a better water? I don't think Imperial. I forget what IO stands for. I always forget that. Can supervise the dock. Ricky, so the reason why China's gonna have really strong water is you don't supervise the dock. You supervise your wood income. So you're getting extra wood per villager, much like HRE, how they get it with their villagers by default. You're getting it with the Imperial Official, which allows you to get that extra wood income for free, like HRE, which is why China's going to be really, economic-wise, China's going to be very strong, much like HRE is. Fix an issue where villagers cannot spawn on the side of the building closest to a designated rally. I don't know if it's going to say this here. I can't remember reading it, but if you did not know, they did change how units spawn now. Right now, in the current patch, units only spawn in one direction. In the new patch, units can spawn from the back of the barracks to the side of the barracks to the front, depending where you set the waypoint. So it's a nice little change. So like, if you have a forward archery range, instead of the unit always coming out forward and getting hit by the enemy units, you can have it come out the back so it can come out safely. It is a good change. Yes, and it is the same with the council hall. I don't remember really messing around with it in the pup, but that is something they did do. Fix an issue where audio wouldn't fire from town centers, towers, and aeroships. Changes to how sheep behave with allies. Fix an issue where sheep would slow down when they're approached near the TC. Fix an issue where newly queued patrol commands would fail to queue. Voice lines would not play when a unit was commanded. I'm not really going to go over all these because there's not really, I'm just looking for anything interesting. Also, I guess I will mention this. Monks can be queued to pick up relics and then return them to the monastery. You can do this now, actually. If you have a relic in the monastery, you can actually right-click a monastery, a relic, shift-click the monastery, and it'll bring the relic there. But now you can do it without it needing to be there. So it's a nice little quality of life change. They also fixed the farms where the farms were really crappy. So now they go perfectly around mills, town centers, and stuff in a very smooth fashion. Why do you think English will be strong on water farms cost reduced? The reason why English is strong on water even now, depending on the hybrid. I should reiterate when I said that hybrid maps, where the resistance isn't too big, is because you can make early men at arms. But whether that might change now with the water maps and all that. But on the current water maps and like Road to Red Bull, English was really good because of their early men at arms. And I have no idea if ships get a benefit from network of castles. Bruce also gets 20% extra wood though. While that's true, you do have to invest 180 wood to get that plus 20%. Whereas with HRE and China, you don't. Roos might be good on water too. I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm not sure how good they'll be. Again, I haven't seen much of it. I haven't played much of water. So I can't like I can only give like a very brief example why I think China and HRE are going to be the top two civs. Maybe Malian's up there. But that's all theory crafting on my part. Fixed an issue where bombard cannons could not damage university buildings. Fixed an audio issue. So this is kind of a nice change here. The attack range on town centers now displays correctly for all civilizations. For those who don't know what that means, right now you'll notice sometimes your scout is out of range of the dots of the town center, but the town center still fires. That's because the the range that it shows is incorrect. So this should now display correctly, which means if your scout is not within the lines of the border for the town center, it should no longer be able to hit any of your units or scouts. Units exiting rams or other transports will now become selected by default instead of the transport. I believe this means that if you click on the ram or something, I'm not sure. I'd have to test it, but this should make it easier to get units out of them. All buildings set for weapon priority of 80, so units will attack the closest building instead of targeting specific ones unless the building's attacking them. And then here's actually a pretty big change and an indirect nerf to certain civs. Relic gold generation reduced from 100 to 80. You might be wondering what civs are being affected by this. The biggest one being HRE. Now, if HRE gets 2 relics, it's 160 gold per minute instead of 200 gold per minute, or 400 gold per minute. Wait. Sorry, 360 gold per minute instead of 400 gold per minute. I actually have wanted a relic gold change for a while. It's like almost since the beginning. I've always thought 100 was too much, so I do think this is a good change. I think this is also 320 gold. Yep, thank you. Again, doing math on stream is a bad idea. Don't do it, chat. So this is also going to be an interesting change for Rus. And the reason I say Rus is because currently, for most players, Rus always goes for the Abbey of Trinity, I think is what it's called, where you can make the warrior monk immediately and grab the relics. But now, if you get a decent trade house, what's it called? Whatever the other one is called, where it generates free gold. If you get at least 160 gold on your high trade house or whatever, yeah, it is the high trade house. Thank you. If you can get at least 160 gold, that makes it worth two relics right off the bat. Also gives you free deer. And if you can get to 240 or more gold, then that's worth 3 relics plus the free deer, which also gets your bounty to 500 because you get those deer. So I think we're going to see a lot more of the high trade house in the next patch. And we're already seeing it a little bit now, is we're seeing more high trade house a little bit, but not that much compared to what I think next in this patch we're going to see a lot more high trade house for Rus. And then the torch range increased by 0.25 tiles for non-villagers. When does this patch come out? It comes out on Tuesday, October 25th. Yeah, I'll be going over that, Isanch and Ricky, regarding the nerfs that Rus received. And then the reason why their note is when you collect relics, it leads to a significant economic advantage for the rest of the game that's significantly more difficult to raid than a villager lead. We wanted to keep the gold value high enough that it is worth collecting, but not feel like the enemy player is at a hopeless disadvantage. Again, I think this was needed. I honestly would have gone a little further. I would have gone to 60 or 70, but I think 80 is still really good. And now for some unit changes. The scout weapon damage is reduced from 2 to 1. I think this is an excellent change. Right now, what a lot of players do, you make 2 scouts, you go to your, you scout the map, then you go to your opponent's gold mine or stone mine, and you just attack their villagers, and then they're forced to pull it back. I always found this very annoying, and I don't think it's a fun mechanic to deal with as a player. I've hated it since the beginning. So now it's only doing 1 damage, which means it's going to take twice as many hits to take a villager from full health to low health. So I think we're going to see scout harass pretty much go away because it's not worth doing anymore, and I think that's a good change. Scouts will now be grouped with other cavalry when in group formation. So now scouts won't necessarily be in the front when putting them in the same control group as cavalry. I actually like that change, so that'll be kind of nice. Spearmen health increased from 70 to 80. Spearmen damage increased from 6 to 7. And these changes are aimed at making Dark Age Spearmen better at dealing with early night harassment, as well as increasing their effectiveness when fighting English men-at-arms. I don't really see spears doing... I mean, spears will be more cost-effective against English men-at-arms and I think they're talking about Dark Age specifically, but I'm not sure... Does this like scale with like Feudal Age? So do Feudal Age spearmen now have more health than they do now, or are the Feudal Age going to be the same? I'm not sure if this means just Dark Age or if it's an increase to all of them. Like, I don't know if that means... Because if it scales, that means spearmen are better versus everything in general. I still don't think they'll be cost effective against men-at-arms, which is fine. I don't think they're not supposed to be, but we'll see. I think they scale, but it's hard to say without me testing or looking. They also increase the infantry charge, so the minimum trigger distance is reduced from 2 to 1 tiles, and then duration increased from 5 to 7 seconds. You don't think it scales? I guess, what if feudal upgrades, what does it say when you upgrade a unit to like the feudal age or the castle age? Like, doesn't it increase the health by 1%, or is it just already set? I guess I've never read it, so I don't know. So usually they list every version of the unit if the change affects them all. That's true. So it's probably not. Um, so if it doesn't scale, then this really is just a Dark Age thing and really not a big deal at all. If it does scale, Spearmen are stronger in general. And then the duration is increased from 5 to 7 seconds. So this means that infantry will charge sooner and longer. I think it's a fine change. Rams. The weapon range increased from 0.28. I'm not going to read them all to 0.05 to 0.5. I'm guessing this is meant to be a dot. I'm not sure, but I'm pretty sure there's supposed to be a dot right here. So 0.5 tiles. This just makes it so that it's, well, I'll just read the note here in a second. Bonus damage to walls increased from plus 100 to plus 200. Increased range makes it easier for multiple rams to hit the same target. We also bumped up the bonus damage versus walls, so they are more effective yet risky to siege counter to all types of walls throughout all phases of the game. Again, I think it's a good change. I don't think it's going to stop rams from really sucking. The reason why rams kind of suck right now, at least at the pro level, for the most part, is because town centers ignore the rams and go for units, so it's hard to protect your rams while attacking like a secondary town center and stuff. Though you can still take out the secondary town centers, but there's a reason you've seen ram usage die down at the higher levels, and because it's a big investment. They're just not as good as they used to be. The counterweight trebuchet now went from 500 damage to 450 to buildings, or the bonus damage. I think it's fine. The weapon range increased from 13 to 14. With the changes to melee troops killing siege faster, the long range of trebs is now a more significant advantage. We want to further the distinction between roles of trebs versus cannons. Trebs are slow, cannons are short range and powerful. Yeah, I'm going to get there, Ricky. I do know about that. All right, so the upgrades technologies. So this is also a big change, or at least I think it is. I mean, I guess we'll see. So reduce the research times and costs of economic technologies, which is the food gathering, the wood gathering, and the mining. So for feudal age, they've reduced it from 75 seconds to 45 seconds research time, and the total resources reduced from 250 to 150. So to give you an example, right now in feudal age, the upgrades are, I believe it's 175 gold and 75 wood, and it's now being reduced to 50 wood and 100 gold. I think this is an excellent change. From the very beginning of beta, I've always said that I think the economic upgrades need to be cheaper. I think they're too expensive, and I think this is a good change because, well, they'll say it here, but it was just, you rarely saw players getting the feudal age eco upgrades until like later in the castle age, because it's just so expensive right now. To get all three in the current patch is 525 gold, I think. With this new change, it's 450, I think, something like that. Did they do any changes to the blacksmith? I don't believe so, but we'll go over that. They also did the same thing. The castle age research time decreased from 70 to 60. And then total resource costs reduced from 500 to 350. Cheaper upgrades is nerfed for Delhi. That's okay. Delhi still has like the strongest feudal age and castle age in the game. Well, one of the strongest. Not sure how it's going to be with the new civs. I don't think this is really that much of a nerf to Delhi, and I think Delhi's just fine. Except for later. Like I said, I've said it before. I think Delhi in general needs a complete rework because they that's not the point of this video, so I'm not going to go into that. Imperial Age total resources cost reduced from 1,000 to 750. Again, I think these are all great changes. I think we're finally going to see more of this in use earlier. Sorry, just correct. Helping someone in chat to do an emote. All right. Developer note, we want to make these technologies more cost effective in the early game to increase the depth of economic decision making. Often you would skip these technologies in the feudal age as it was more cost effective to go castle age first or wait until high villager counts, which is 100% correct. So again, great changes. I think it's going to be good. And now we have villagers, traders, building construction updates. Villager repair animations will now look smooth and loop properly when repairing. If you haven't paid attention to repairing right now villagers will bend down and get back up every like few seconds while repairing. Fix an issue where villagers would drop off only partial resources if their drop off action was canceled or interrupted. This is pretty much like if a scout is attacking a villager. Sometimes the villager will not drop off the resource until you either click the villager away and then do it, right click the mining camp, for example, or the scout goes away. So it kind of stops that. Fixed an A pose before harvesting sheep. Fixed an issue where villagers would be interrupted while dropping off resources being struck by an attacker. The return to work command now occurs to all selected structures simultaneously instead of just one that's selected. Now, here's another nerf to rams. Villager torch bonus damage versus siege increased from 0 to +2. I think they also got a range, if not a range increase, just this. But so now villagers do even more damage to rams. So rams, which are already kind of in a weak spot right now because of how town centers work, are now even weaker because now villagers do more damage to them. I'm not sure why they made that change, but that's a thing. And I'm not sure why they made this one either. Market build time reduced from 30 to 20 seconds. And the reason why I don't understand this change is nobody doesn't build a market because of the time. It doesn't take long to build a market. 30 seconds is not a long time. Almost every player makes a market at some point if the game goes long enough. So I don't understand this change. But whatever. I know they want to do more trading, but I don't think this is necessary for that. Nice little troll. That's why I don't build a market. Yep. Traders will now move out of the way if they were preventing a stone wall gate from being constructed. Okay. Traders no longer start moving when you assign them to a new home. Okay. And then they reduce the cost of traders from 75 wood, 75 gold to 60 wood, 60 gold. Build time was also reduced from 35 seconds to 25 seconds. Hello, I'm here to get good. Hey, Rosilius. I'm not really going to be doing much to help you get good in this stream, but that is what my stream is for. If you ever have any questions, feel free to ask or watch me starting next week when I'm doing 1v1s again. I do commentate my gameplay. And then their reasoning is we'd like to see more trade earlier in the game. This is a step in that direction. We have more efforts planned for future updates. I'm going to be honest and say I really dislike this. I do not think trying to make trading viable in 1v1s, which I think is what this is going for, is needed. I think trading is already in a fine spot. In the late game, you go trade. I don't think trading should be where you need to go for it or you feel like you have to. It's already really strong. If you get trade going safely, it's just so strong. I don't know why they're trying to buff it. I think it's a huge mistake. And in team games, you don't need to make trading easier because trading is already really easy in team games. In team games, it's not hard to trade. You just start trading at feudal age and it works most of the time. I don't know why they're so. I don't know why they're trying to increase trading. I don't think it's necessary, and I don't think it'll be. I just don't think it's also exciting, but that's what they're doing. And then I've already mentioned this. It's making it so that now when you build farms and you shift queue on the mill, town center, granary, it now smoothly goes around it instead of going all over the place. It's just a quality of life change. I think we're all looking forward to that one. Fix an issue where latency affected building placement. I'm sure I've experienced that and I just don't know it. Fix an issue where villagers could sometimes idle when constructing a wall with 2 or more villagers. I have seen this, so that is a good change. And then fix an issue where walls and other buildings could sometimes stomp trees in dense forests, which could result in walls having a gap. When I first read this, when they first announced the pub, I want to say I was like, this makes so much sense. Because we were seeing so many players, like pro level players, have holes in their walls when they were connected to tree lines, and it was so.
_cop just subscribed. Less than 3.
And so when I read this, I was like, this makes so much sense now. Now we know why so many players are having holes in walls at the high level, not because they made a mistake, but because they were stomping out the trees. Xanax Cop, thank you for the tier 1 subscription. I'm glad you're still enjoying my stream to where you are subscribing twice, 2 months in a row. I do greatly appreciate it. All right. So let's go to the town center changes. Now, this is something I think is needed for the game, and I love what they did here. Stone cost increased from 300 to 350. Build time increased from 120 to 150 seconds. The keep build times increased from 140 to 180 seconds. And then their intentions for the town centers is it's their intention that rush, boom, and tech strategies are equally viable. And we've seen the villager boom taking over and want to add more risk to the path. And then for this, forward keep should be exciting and risky strategy. We've pulled the build time so there's more risk and counterplay options for dealing with keeps built near the enemy base. Fantastic changes. I think if you've been paying attention to high level meta for a while now, every civilization is going 2 town centers, 3 town centers, sometimes even 4 town centers. Like 3 or 4 town centers is almost becoming the norm. So this is a very, very good change. And before I go forward, I forgot to, is Abbot Trade Wing for Castle viable now? Hard to say, Aswan. Probably not for 1v1s. Is Rolo turning to be based on the new patch? Yes, it is. Along with the new civs. So, this is also a nerf to a lot of civilizations, but also an indirect buff to others. For example, Delhi. This is a buff to Delhi. This is a buff to Holy Roman Empire. Those are the only 2 that come off the top of my head. So this is a nerf for Rus in 2 ways. 1, you can no longer make 2 tickets with the Golden Gate and get a fast second TC. You have to gather stone. And I actually think this is a good change for that reason as well. Rus is considered possibly the strongest civilization in the game right now. If they're not the I think they are the strongest in the current patch, but Abbasid is close behind. This now makes it so you can scout Rus and you're going to know if they go 2 TC or not. Because right now you don't know until you found the TC. But now you will know. If you see a Rus player gathering stone, you know they're going second TC, and you can now react accordingly. Whereas right now, you don't know until you see it, because there's no way to actually scout that. Even though it was a safe bet to assume they would. This is obviously a nerf to every civilization as well, except for Mongols, by the way. This is also a buff for Mongols, because Mongols town centers still cost the same 900 wood. The build time has been increased from 120 to 150 seconds. Delhi? Yeah, this is a buff to Delhi because Delhi doesn't typically go multiple town centers. And now town centers are going to be delayed because you need to gather an extra 50 stone, and it takes 30 extra seconds to build. So that makes it so, like, if you think about it, it's going to delay everything for every civ by a certain amount of time. It's not going to be 30 seconds exactly because of how many villagers you put on. And Bruce will just send 5 bills straight off the bat to stone and then relocate to food from one trip. Yep, that's correct. But my point is you can scout that. You can click on their stone vein, and if you scout that, you're going to see that they're going a second TC. So if you see that, you know they're going 2 TC. That's the big change to it for me, and that's why I really like it. And Roos does need some nerfs. Compound of the Defender in Delhi. What about it? If it's a balance change, I haven't gotten there yet. What about upgrade cost getting nerfed? Is this a big nerf for Delhi? Not really. Like, it is technically, I guess, an indirect nerf to Delhi, but Delhi has the strongest feudal age right now, and they have a super strong castle age. They only suck if the game gets to late castle / imperial age. So I don't know why people are complaining about it as if Delhi's in a horrible spot. Delhi's still insanely powerful. People are remembering that, by the way, recently, where they're finally remembering, oh yeah, Delhi still has like the strongest feudal age in castle age because they have mass scholars. Plus, they can pump out units like none other off of 1 TC. I don't understand the Delhi complaints. They're still so powerful. But yeah. How badly will this hurt Abba? I haven't played it enough to know. I still think Abbasid's going to go 2 town center opening, but it delays them a bit, right? So I do think and like I said, Abbasid does need probably a slight nerf as well. So good changes. The civ that's probably the least impacted by this, by the way, is China. And the reason why this is the least impacted by China is because with Supervise, that extra 50 stone doesn't take that much long to get, and also the villagers build faster anyway. So in general, I think China is the least affected by this compared to other civs. At lower levels like gold, no one picks Delhi. Yeah, but you can't balance on the lower levels because it's impossible. It's just you want to make all the civs viable, but you can't make them viable at the high and low level because there's always going to be something that's overpowered at the lower level but weak at the high level, and vice versa. So some civs are just going to not be picked at lower levels, just like there's some civs not picked very much at higher levels. And then obviously the keep build time. I think everyone wants this change because everyone knows how annoying it is when your opponent comes to your base, drops a keep right in front, and you can do nothing to stop it because of how fast it builds. So a very good change. I still think you're going to see it, obviously, forward keeps, but hopefully this makes it easier to counteract compared to now where it can be very difficult, especially if that civilization is China. And now we're going to go to the civilization-specific changes. Is this keep build time buff to China? No. It's still a nerf to them, but they can still build faster, so it's not as big of a nerf for them as other civs. So there's not really that much civilization changes except for like Rus, but we'll still go over these. Reduce visual scale of the Hall of the Ubga to better line up with other wonders. They have a celebratory audio notification when they unlock new levels in their House of Wisdom. Fix a minimap issue where the Abzin main town center displays a normal town center icon instead of a capital. No, Anami, I'm not saying that again. Trader units can no longer trade for stone. Oh, wait. Ukba. Ukba. There, I said it again. I thought that was a B, actually, but that's what I get for quickly looking and not really looking. This is their reasoning, and this is also for French as well. Spoiler alert. This is because stone is intended as a rare resource, so that adding keeps and defensive structures is done with strategic intention. I think... I do think this is a good change, but I don't think it really matters that much for 1v1s because you don't really see trading in 1v1s very often, but I still think it's good. Naval rework, just kind of naval stuff that we went over. And then we got China. Fix an issue where grenadiers do not display proper visual effects. Fix an issue where the Great Wall Gatehouse landmark could be permanently destroyed by destroying the walls surrounding it. I actually didn't know that was a thing. Imperial official hockey is now remappable in the Imperial Academy landmark. Added 2 new hotkeys. Fix an issue where the Imperial land officer could not manually drop off resources at expansion town centers. So I actually thought this was intentional until I read this. But so now, if you don't know, for Imperial officers, they do not drop gold at other town centers, only the main town center or the Imperial Academy. Now they will drop them off at other town centers. So it's like a buff almost because of that. That's a bug fix. Barbican of the Sun landmark, just updated some text. Reload drills, research time reduced from 90 to 60. Total resource cost reduced from 1,000 to 500. The granaries now contain economic technologies, so you no longer need a mill to do, although you're going to have a mill anyway, so this really doesn't change much. Spiritway landmark, they buffed it to where the research speed is increased from 100 to 150%. I don't know why they buffed this landmark. It's already super strong. I don't know a single person that thinks, man, that Spiritway landmark sucks ass. Let's not make it. So I don't know why they're buffing this when it's already super strong. And I also don't know why they're buffing Fire Lancers either. They're also super strong. But anyway, Fire Lancers range armor increased from 0 to 1. Elite Fire Lancer range increased from 0 to 2. And then naval rework stuff. So China got buffs even though they're already a super strong civilization in the game. I mean, I think most players agree that they're probably top 3. 4th at the worst right now. But anyway, let's go to Delhi. Tower of Victory now buffs all infantry produced from buildings and influence instead of units who move near the landmark. So, and yes, I agree, no cursing. 2TC Song is like really, really, really good. And that's going to be China's go-to even next patch for sure. So what this means is, because kind of like Abbasid, you have a little, you have those little, if you connect buildings, it increases the influence. So now as long as your infantries are produced from buildings inside the influence, they now get the Tower of Victory buff. So it's a buff to that landmark. Fix an exploit allowing multiple free scholars when you produce more mosque at the same time. Text change. Just not really anything balance-wise. Fix an issue where scholars garrisoned in a madrasa were immediately killed when the building was destroyed. I have no idea what building this is, but I didn't even know that was a thing. Scholars will now be removed from the global scholar count when a mosque or madrasa with garrisoned scholars is destroyed. Okay. Fix a bug where infantry would assist in the construction of walls before a compound defender landmark is built. Oh, okay. Didn't know that. That's the university building. Ah, thank you. Good to know. And then fix an issue where research progress at docks wasn't saved when technologies were canceled. Fix another issue where forced march's speed bonus was removed before the unit committed an actual attack. Oh, so that was a bug. I have noticed that sometimes. Naval rework stuff. English. Berkshire Palace Landmark can now be placed on the coast, whereas right now it can't. Fixed an issue where the King's Palace Landmark had less line of sight than other town centers. Oh, I didn't know that. Good to know. And then fixed an issue where keeps were constructing in less time than intended. Okay, I didn't know that either. Not that that's a big deal, but good to know. Naval rework. French. Fixed an issue where economic technology discount was not applying to fishing technologies. Trader units can no longer trade for stone. Nothing big. HRE. Fixed an issue where arrows from the Palace of Swabi would spawn on the incorrect location. Fix that. These are just kind of fix the influence. The emergency icon repair now displays properly over the Elsbach Palace. Fix an issue where Palace of Swabi Landmark wasn't increasing population limit like other town centers. Okay, didn't know that. Fix an issue where the two-handed weapons technology was also granting its bonus to torches. The torches are still one-handed. Okay, I didn't know that. Fix an issue with the Tith Barn technology where it was providing only 20 stone every minute. Now it's 30. Okay. Mongols. Fix an ix. I'm just gonna quickly read this. Yeah, it basically H3 was fully bugged. Yeah, it looks like Mongols was too. Fix an issue where Ubus would count as a villager working stone on the villager tracker UI element. Okay. Fix an issue where piracy technology failed to grant the intended resources from destroying ships. Yep. Fix an issue where idle villagers sometimes automatically path to a Mongol building that was in the middle of unpacking. Just looks like a bunch of bug fixes. Multiple players can no longer build Ubus on the same stone deposit. Didn't know you could. Okay, here's a little buff. Early horseman health increased from 100 to 110. And then early horseman damage increased from 7 to 8. That's the Dark Age horsemen. So they're just a little bit stronger, which I'm fine with. Fix tooltip thing and the naval rework. So did they mention at all about improved ecotechs? They haven't mentioned it at all, but I assume the stone's going to be the same regardless. All right, now this civ, it's going to be interesting how this civ's going to play out in the next patch. I mean, they got nerfed a lot. We got the indirect nerfs with the town center, and now these ones. So Streltsy static deployment no longer provides a stacking bonus. It now just gives a flat plus 30% attack speed after 10 seconds. For those who don't know right now, I believe it's every 2 seconds or something like that. The Streltsy, if they weren't moving at all, would do extra damage, like an extra some percentage. I don't know the exact scaling. And it would scale to 10 seconds. If it didn't move for 10 seconds, it did plus 30%. If it didn't for like 5 seconds or whatever, it was like 20% or something like that. Either way, now it only does the plus 30% attack speed after being still for 10 seconds. So this is a pretty big nerf for Streltsy. Because they no longer get that bonus unless they stay still for 10 seconds, and that is never going to happen at a pro level, really, for at least not often. The fine-tuned guns technology secondary cost 150 food changed to 150 wood to better match the theme of technology. The warrior monk train time reduced from 45 to 35 seconds, and just because they were makes sense. That's how quick it is for every other monk in the game. Town center influence increased from 0 to 1. Rus fortified palisade build time increased from 3 to 7 seconds. I think this is a fine change. But the big one. Rus no longer gains bounty from killing sheep. Their reasoning: we wanted to pull down the huge burst of gold roosts are able to get at the start of the game from killing Gaia, which is wolves and deer. This is actually really, really big. You can no longer kill sheep to get that 5 gold you might need for something. You're not guaranteed to get 250 bounty anymore because sheep doesn't help you at all in the bounty department. I'm going to guess the early wheelbarrow build that Roost players do is probably going to go away. I don't think that's going to be potentially. I don't think it's going to be viable anymore because you can't kill the sheep necessary. What's average sheep? Yeah, I'd say 13. So it's like you get anywhere from 60 to 100 gold from sheep. Um, oh yeah, I guess thank you for reminding me, Wafty Knackers. So what isn't mentioned in the patch notes? Wolves do not follow your units across the map anymore. They work like a boar. They will run from this section to a certain distance and then they go back no matter what. So you cannot take wolves and take them to your town center anymore. Now this is a buff to Roos because Roos makes 3 scouts. They can go straight for the deer, have their 3rd scout go for wolves, and what are you going to do as the other player? You can't grab wolves and take them to the town center anymore. So you either have 2 scouts, one killing wolves, and you hope that you kill two deer packs with 1 scout before the Roost player finds 3, or you just go for the deer packs and then go for wolves after. So that is actually a big change and a buff to Roost because of that. So potentially maybe this nerf doesn't matter because of that, but it is far too early to say. But that is actually a big change I forgot about that they didn't mention in the patch notes. So that may potentially just offset this nerf completely. It may not. It may not. It's hard to say because, but again, it is 3 scouts versus 2. But either way, so that is a thing now. And then we'll go over these two. The Malians and Ottomans got a few changes as well. I'm not going to go over the naval rework. But so for Malians, the mounted guns cost set to 200 wood, 500 gold, 45 seconds. Replaces the ballista from the spring. Oh, I think that's water stuff. I don't care about water stuff. Fix an exploit in the Malian trade tax mechanic. Fixed a bug where poison arrows would stop functioning when upgrading arrows at the Farimba garrison. Fixed a bug where Donzo would play looping attack animations while the spear is on cooldown. Warrior Scout health regeneration reduced from 5 to 1. And then reduce the detection radius of buildings and units for seeing Musafati and stealth. Outposts and scouts remain unchanged and continue to be intended encounters. The wolf change seems to make it safer for early relic gathering civs too. Yep, it does. You can now gather relics much safer because wolves don't chase them across the map. Most maps have 7 wolves, aka 175 bounty. Yeah. It'll be interesting to see how many they get from that. Sorry, 1 second. All right. Okay. So yeah, those are the Malian changes. Let's go for the Ottomans. Again, naval rework. Ottomans starting would increase from 150 to 200. Core military and technology buildings are 33% faster. Ottomans were very wood-starved because of how expensive military schools are. This change aims at providing more flexibility to Ottoman build orders. The Janissary build time was reduced from 28 to 24. Janissaries are no longer considered a ranged unit, which means they will no longer take bonus damage from horsemen and mangonel units. So I'm guessing they still take bonus damage from archers? Not sure. Blade, my man, did you burn out a 1v1? Incog, I kind of stopped playing 1v1s over the past week or so because I absolutely am not a fan of the map pool, and the state of the game is kind of boring right now because of how many town centers you make. So I haven't been enjoying the game 1v1s as much, so that's why I haven't been streaming as many 1v1s. I will be going back to it next week, but with the map pool in there, I'm probably going to be playing a lot more team games than I ever have because I'm going to just do them both because 1v1s are going to just tilt me with how bad the map pool is. If the map pool was good, I would be so much more motivated to play 1v1s, but unfortunately it's not. Just going over some bad water maps. Boulder Bay. If you didn't know about Boulder Bay, this is smaller. Hill and Dale's still there. They used the wrong map thing for there. Jaina, knock it off. This is actually Ancient Spires. Not sure why they put that as Libany. And yeah, so they just made a bunch of map changes. Not really much to talk about. Actually, I'll look at prairies real quick. I'm curious. Okay, it's just kind of board changes and number of deer. Okay, here's wetland changes. So this could make the map good depending on how much they did it. The amount of forest on the map has been reduced. The number of ponds has been reduced. The number of fish in each pond has been reduced. Ponds have been pushed slightly further away from players starting town center. Decrease the number of deer in each herd. Boars have been moved further away. Reduce the chance of resources being trapped in resources. So with these changes, this map could actually be really good potentially. It could be almost like a Frisian Marshes. I haven't seen it, so I don't know what the changes look like, but if it has changed to the degree they've said, then I actually think Wetlands could be a good map. But again, we'll find that out on Tuesday, right? And then miscellaneous map updates. Yep, so they just made some other, let's see. See if there's anything important to really talk about. I don't think there is. Yeah, okay, so nothing really to talk about there. They also made a lot of AI changes. So for those of you who like to play versus the AI, they made a ton of fixes. They changed it in ways like all these notes right here are all AI changes. So for those of you that like that, hopefully this helps you enjoy the game more. And then, oh, this is also still there. This is also more AI changes. Like they made a ton of changes to the AI. So it might actually be, so someone's saying they played versus the hardest AI in the pup and it plays at about the gold or platinum level. So if that's true, then for those people, they might have a challenge now. Can you go over all the details for AI changes? Just give your opinions on each point. No. I don't play versus the AI, so I can't really give opinions on that anyway. Let's see. So for modding, fix an issue where cut trees could not be selected and villagers could not be sent to gather those trees. Oh, for mods. Oh, never mind. Content editor updates. Fix the bugs for creative maps where larger maps with only 2 spawn locations would still be available for more than 2 players to play it. Fix impasse interactivity for modern maps. Units can no longer walk through impasse non-interactive zones. Fix an editor crash. Okay, so they didn't really do much there, it looks like. And then Steam trading cards. For those who care, you're going to get these trading cards. And then as of right now, there is no other information. We don't know anything else about what their future is because they're saving it for, or at least I assume, October 25th. For those of you that don't know, on October 25th, they're going to have a huge Age of Empires stream where there's supposed to be some cool surprises. They haven't really given any tips. They haven't given any hints on what that is. So very curious. The only thing I know is Nilly said on stream that it's good for Age of Empires. So very curious what they're going to do. Maybe some new tournament announcements. Maybe they're going to tease something new. I know people want Age of Mythology. I really doubt we're going to get an Age of Empires 5 or Age of Mythology 2 announced, though I wouldn't complain just because I love Age of Empires. So any new Age of Empires games is great for me. So we'll kind of see where that goes. Either way,